Okay, here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, we're back. We're back for one of our second installments of Romance and Finance from our couples entrepreneurs. As you all know, it's Black History Month. We're wrapping it up, but it was also Valentine's Day, and we thought it was important to blend Black love and Black entrepreneurship together. And our next guest, and this is a couple, guys. I think you guys were in a treat last week. You're really in a treat because I get to indulge in what they've presented today. And so that's never happened. And so I'm excited about that. But the first thing I want to say about this particular episode, I need you guys to really tune in. I need you guys to probably go online and order this. So I'm just going to tell you all, this is what you need to do today. I don't ask for a lot, but this is one time that I do think that this is something that you want to do, especially to our listeners that are in the Chicagoland area. Guys, I am excited to bring this couple to the podcast, and we had to work hard to get them. They don't say yes to a lot of people, but they said yes to us. Thanks to our lovely Nameless. I do want to throw that out. She works with us and she's friends with them, and we were able to get them to say yes. So I'm super excited to have them here, and I'm going to introduce them to you. They are the first Black-owned and operated winery in Illinois. Yeah, we have them. You may not know who they are, but I'm about to introduce you. So what we have today is Rick Nesbitt and Karen Nesbitt. And they have been both together working on Then Trendy Wines. And so I'm going to give you a little background of Rick and where he's come from. He's been working in this industry for about 25 years in the wine and spirits. And he's worked as a salesperson and in the marketing spaces at the largest adult beverage distributor in Illinois. You didn't tell me that.
Quite a few.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And his career path evolved from alcoholic beverage sales to funding and operating an independent liquor distribution company, and ultimately to winemaking. So currently, Rick serves as the CEO, the winemaker. So you are the winemaker?
I am the winemaker.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And the creative engine that drives the Then Trendy Wine Company experience. And so welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
So, Rick, I hear about you, but I got to hear about Karen. Because we talking about couples, right? Okay. And so I've got to hear, because the thing about it is that we started off this interview where it was like, no, he's the entrepreneur. No, she's got it. No, but y'all got it. You know what I mean? Definitely. Like at the end of the day, y'all got it. Sure. So realizing that, but before we kind of delve into the business, I want to hear about how you guys met. Oh. I want to hear about that.
No, she wanted to hear from you.
I want to hear you,
Karen. From me.
Yes,
okay.
And I'm saying this because, so here's what happens. We all know that there's a different story, right? His story is different from your story.
No, I think the story is exactly the
same. That's the first, because I'll be like, well, his story is going to be this. So we're going to start with the ladies because let me say this. You can go because our last couple, she let him go first and then he came. So you guys can do this either way. Go
ahead, tell the story. The story's the same though.
Well, it's the same? Okay.
Okay. Well, actually, a friend introduced us years ago. Okay. We met. It was a blind date. And,
wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Actually, you know what? I went to her job. Oh, yeah, it was definitely, the old
You did
Polaroids.
know the pictures. Okay.
Yeah,
Polaroids.
Yeah, Polaroids. Yeah. And we saw each other's Polaroids. So I guess that was like the first Tinder date.
Okay. So it was Tinder before there was Tinder?
Pretty much.
Yeah. You was just pulling out Polaroids. I love it.
That's kind of how it worked out. And we were introduced, and I went up to her job one day. She was at Sears. I just got off of my job, which was in the same general area. Okay. And she was mixing paint. Yeah, on Western, actually right down the street from here. As a matter of fact.
Wow.
Yeah, it is ancient history, but it was a
Sears
Sears.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we went out on our first date, and strangely enough, we always laugh about this because our first date we went to see the War of the Roses.
Wow.
And that was like a bad sign, right?
Wait, that's a bad sign.
I know, it was terrible. And so I guess that's like our guiding point going forward. We don't ever want to let it get to the point that we're fighting and hanging off a chandelier. We fight,
But
this-
not for the chandelier.
No,
No. Okay,
no,
got it.
not anymore. Well, we don't have the chandelier anymore.
I love it, Rick. I love it.
Yeah,
But that's the story. So it was
Pretty
a
much,
blind
yeah.
date. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have to understand like this idea of Tinder, Match, all these platforms, right? All we did is get to the people faster, right? Because
Pretty
you were still
much.
doing the same thing. We were
Yeah,
ultimately
yeah,
doing
yeah.
the same thing, except we had, now it's a software that can bring us all
I
together
know.
at the same time, which is kind of cool. And so from there, what did you see in him that says, okay, did you automatically know husband material, or did you say, I don't know?
I want to know that.
I would say, yeah. I mean, from the start,
Okay.
I knew Rick was hardworking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Hence today, right?
today.
Wow.
There's never. It's always, I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna fix it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's always been the
Wow.
Rick.
And is that a quality that you definitely think is important when you're choosing a mate?
Definitely, I'm
Yeah.
hardworking.
Yeah.
Very much.
So you saw
I-
yourself too in him.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
But yeah.
And
Okay.
do you think that in business, is that how we should see partnerships?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say that for me, and I would probably the same for him, I can't imagine being in business with somebody else other than him. You don't always agree. But just the dedication. If something needs to get done, it's going to get done. And especially in this business, this was just what he knew.
Wow.
So
Wow.
to get behind it.
Yeah.
Just
was it an
go.
easy road to get behind? Or was it necessarily you were just kind of, for lack of a better word, were just invested in what you were doing at that moment that you just weren't all the way in? Or was it all the way in?
No. Well, there's a couple of different reasons why. I mean, I had a W-2.
I know. Yeah.
A long period.
Yeah.
Kids were younger.
Yep.
Definitely that stability.
Absolutely.
Insurance.
That part.
We weren't gonna going to walk away from that. But the last job I left, I knew that was going to hopefully be my last job. I was in the finance field for 31 years. I was at that company for 14 and a half years, and some changes took place there. I could have looked for another job, but
it just made sense.
Yeah.
It just made sense. Kids were probably older by then.
Definitely older.
Yeah.
2 out of college at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
And did y'all have that vision already laid out, that kind of like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this, you stay there? Was that the plan?
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah. It started shaping into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because we'd been entrepreneurs before in a lot of different ventures.
First rodeo.
And I even hate the word entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
self-employed are always having a side hustle. You
Yeah.
always.
I mean, that's what you gotta have, a side hustle to get to
Exactly.
the real hustle.
Exactly.
Sometimes,
There were
right?
many times we both had W-2 jobs and we're doing something on the side.
Always.
Love it.
There were times when I was at home, he was W-2. It just flowed.
It
Mhm.
flowed.
Yeah.
Just like wine.
But when she's always been a great help to the business for the fact for what she actually brings to it.
That's
We
what I
have
wanted to
different
get to.
roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her
On the
background, the finance helps a lot.
Yeah.
I like to say that I'm Word and she's Excel. That's how we run the relationship.
I love it.
And she's
I love
cold
it.
with Excel.
And there's some issues I have with the word right now that you don't even know about. He's helping me tomorrow.
Or the design, things
Yeah.
like that. I'm more creative,
Yeah.
but yet business minded.
Yeah.
But it all meshes together. So, just like with my background, I've picked up pieces over the years from different companies or past jobs, and basically amassed it. At some point, it's like it seemed like it was preordained, because I used to sell bottles. My first job out of school was packaging.
Okay.
So, that's part of the business that actually carried over into production, distribution, ultimately into production. The packaging had nothing to do specifically with wine, but the point is that was a skill that I picked up from there, or the knowledge of, types of glass and finishes on bottles.
Yeah.
And same with her, her background in finance and investing and things like that. She helps, keep us on track financially. Because being a creative, sometimes I can get past myself as far as I might have these grandiose visions, but do we have the money?
Right. Right.
Or how can we get the money?
Right.
Or how can we up sales?
Right.
So she's great in operations. That was actually ultimately her last background, her role at her company. So that helps too on different types of operations. Our business is not just retail, it's wholesale, it's manufacturing. So there's we're vertically integrated. So there's different types of operations too, but her portion of it, I don't have to worry about. So like she said, to that end, she's a great partner. Fantastic.
That's a blessing to have your partner, your life partner, as part of your dream partner.
It helps.
I think it helps. And you both can get to flex your own superpowers. You both get to flex them. Like nobody really, you can flex your finance and be like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
And she does.
It's like, oh, she does.
And so do I.
And I love that because if our last guest last week, reverse, he was the finance and she was the creative. And so just being able to balance that and still manage the business in the business that you all are in, right? Wine certainly is also entertainment, right? It's lifestyle. For me, I said therapies for some of us, right? And so knowing that you are technically, right, helping to feed that energy for people, right? Whether that's entertainment, whether that's therapy, whether that's,
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like you're feeding it. How do you all feed yourselves?
That's a good question.
We love the work.
Honestly, and and people, I enjoy my work. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like even when today is technically our day off, Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
But yet and still, I may not go into the shop, but I'm still working. But it's fun. Like you said, I'm helping people have good times.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in the industry, but I've been doing this. I've seen the ebb and flow of the business and how alcohol, it's part of celebrations, fiestas, whatever have you. It's a big common denominator in the world. And, I'm just glad to be part of that. The thing is, in this industry, I think our taste buds and ideas of what the entire package of the product is has been influenced by other folks, but I like to be able to inject my own personality into our products for our consumers based on my background, and that's fulfilling to me. So I just have fun, lots of fun.
I think that when you build a company that you built from your vision, from your blood, from your sweat, if you're not enjoying it, then you can go work for somebody else.
Pretty much.
That's the way I see it, right? If it's not the intensity of waking up and saying, what can I do today? It's not in it, then you probably shouldn't be in it. You're right. Because you got to have that level of intensity, because even when the intensity, the numbers aren't there, right? You still have to show up 100%, right? And so I think from that balance and just knowing that you both love it, I think is something which is why we talked about the whole month of love, right? That you have to blend that love inside of it. But when you have love already kind of foundationally as two people that built a romantic relation, had kids, had family, and now come together, then to me, that's a foundation I think that's not easily broken.
You're right.
It's not, right? And so last week I shared with them, like the number one billion-dollar couple was Oprah and Stedman, right? They're not married.
No.
Right? But what we had to understand was that he had network, she had network, right? And together they were able to come together. For whatever reason, there was something that we could see Oprah is great, but I'm sure Stedman came to the table with a lot of things that she didn't have, right? And so we also talked about, for those and we talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z, right? There's that entertainment side that I think Jay-Z has on lock. I think that when we ultimately saw Beyonce, right, she wasn't quite the entertainer, but I think because of JC, right? She became the entertainer.
He probably
right?
pulled something out of her.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I bet I do want to ask you, Karen, are there sides of you that you didn't know you had that's creative?
Oh yeah, definitely.
See? And it's probably because Rick's pulled
Totally.
that. Yeah.
And even just like recently, it's just little things. And he's like, he'll say something like, wow, you did that. And I'm like, I know, right? I did that.
I know.
But,
yeah, she's not normally the creative type,
but
I'm
I think
seeing
you
a
can
different
feel
side
it.
of her coming out. Yeah.
And what about you? Do you find yourself sometimes saying, let me look at the numbers just a little bit that you didn't do before?
Only the profit
just
loss.
Look at the bottom. Just
That's
to be
it.
there.
Yeah,
I
pretty
know,
much.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's fair. I mean, that's okay because you're looking at are we really making money? Are we losing money?
Exactly.
And then how to structure creatively how we need to show up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So to that end, you know what? You're right because I analyze my data a lot more. Where before the gut feeling, just because I so quote unquote think I know the business, that's one thing. But then seeing real numbers makes a difference, and that's something analytical like what her background is, which normally I've just been paying more attention to it to hone the business and scale it. So yeah, I guess I have picked that up a little bit more. Put that in my toolkit.
So now you have to tell me the name, Then Trendy Wines. Where did that come from? Sounds very French. I just
it was kind of like a Latin root. The vin being for vine, vineyards, vintage, just all wine related. And trendy is like because trends and styles, wine profiles. Yeah, that's where it came from. So I gave it a vowel on the end as opposed to Y, just to give it the Latin, Italian, Latin root language. That was the suffix, whatever have you. But the thing is, honestly, between the name means something, but what it is really hard to find a name that you could trademark nowadays.
Right.
And with that being said, I had to come up with something unique, so I just built a word.
Yeah, but no, I first of all, I just like asking because I'm a brand girl. Like where you didn't just come out the sky and be like, yep, this. I mean, if you did come out the sky, it was because it was 2:00 p.m. and the sun was a certain way and the ray was this, right? There's still a why behind it. And so when I looked, I was like, man, in trendy, I was like, I wonder if they're playing on Vino, Vine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like trendy, I think, just like, so in my mind, it did show up like that. It shows up like that.
And to add to that, in which people probably don't know, the vin being wine and trimming trends and styles and profiles, that's also how we organize our wines in the store. As opposed to traditionally being by region or grape or fruit or whatever have you, we organize everything by taste profile, as in trendy or trends and styles. So in our store, everything is like sweet, semi-sweet. I say store, but the winery, the wine portfolio. They're all based on the most base sense that we have, taste, which ultimately that's what you're doing. You're tasting wine. People really overthink wine, just for whatever reason. It's because that's what's been done in the past. We're definitely not those companies. We're Ford, and we don't even measure ourselves by traditional standards. Why would we? I'm not the traditional winemaker. She's not the traditional winemaker.
I love it.
Yeah.
And what is, could you tell our guests? Because here's what I need you to understand. We've never had a beverage company on the show, which is amazing. We've never tasted. But a reason why I think it's important is because oftentimes, right, whether you are CEO, business leader, the manager, what are you doing when you go out? You're drinking, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's a cocktail, glass of wine with your girlfriends, guys, whatever it is. But doesn't that create connection?
Like when we go out and like to hang out.
Correct. You're creating connection, whether that's at work, whether that's with your friends. This becomes the connection.
Oh yeah,
right?
The denominator.
Yeah,
denominator.
that becomes the connection. Yeah. So do you find that and I say this because clearly I've gone to a lot of wineries in my day. Full disclosure. I find that wineries speak, it's an experience. it's an experience. And it's not just I'm going out to eat and I'm having a glass of wine. I'm going to this winery to learn, like, okay, what did they do to get here? Like, oh, this was one of our best. This is our top selling. It's a very different, and oh, by the way, I'm gonna get some chips, right? But it's really focused on this part of it versus like, and again, we go out to eat. The wine is still a compliment to your food and pairing it off. I get all that, which confuses me because if I like what I like, I'll just like what I like. I don't really care. Do you feel the same way? Like,
That's why it should be.
yes, like, oh, well, you should pair with this. Well, I don't want to. I want to pair with what I exactly. So I never was a fan of that. Well, you should pair it with this, but I don't like clams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And it's funny you bring that up because, like, in our meetings, ultimately, and I've heard many suppliers say it, managers, it's ultimately what the consumer likes. Yeah, you have these traditional rules and all that. That's fine. That's cool. That's the standard. But at the end of the day, you're drinking.
Absolutely.
And it's what you like is completely subjective to you.
And I think, so talking from this place of knowing, right, we're not dominated in this industry. How does that help propel your business, if any? Maybe it doesn't. To say, are you looking to be, hey, to help others who want to start? Or is it very merely just says, hey, we saw an opportunity and we jumped on it? Or both?
I don't even know if it was an opportunity. Okay. At some point, I just started delving more into my career.
Okay.
And this was just a natural progression for us, from me anyway. It was my background. I worked for different companies. I just basically let go of my employers, and for numerous reasons, and basically cut them out of the picture. I didn't need them. Yeah. Lack of a better word, that probably doesn't sound great.
Yeah, but no.
And basically, there was an opportunity because I didn't see winemakers like myself, and there's a story behind that.
Okay.
Tell me the story. Well, we had actually, I could name a few of them, but probably the one that was the turning factor on a company trip to a distillery, an up north distillery in Illinois. We went to see this small operation started by some folks in the industry. Vodka and gin and absinthe makers. I'm not going to name the company, but while there, there was an older rep that was with us, and we're looking at their facility, and it wasn't like 100 years old. It was a relatively new facility. They were probably the first distiller in Illinois. And this gentleman said that, wow, they really know how to do it as far as, producing a product and making it. He was, in awe about it. And, I thought to myself, well, you can do that. Anyone can do it. Right. You just have to do it.
Right.
Yes and no, anyone can do it. It's a challenge, especially not if you're not from the industry. But if you are from the industry, I started thinking about it. And after years of looking back and my progression, all the information I gathered, I guess you could say it was an opportunity there. And, I picked it up, but it was still some, a challenge going up and down the path to get here.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it was an opportunistic thing. It was more or less something that I needed to do. You were solving a problem. Pretty much.
Yeah. And I think, again, Rick, I think, and don't get me wrong, I know where you're going because you don't want to be an opportunist, right? Opportunities come and go. But I do think, right, you're solving a problem for that particular opportunity, right? During COVID, people were selling masks and decided after the mask, I don't sell them anymore, right? That's because they were solving that problem for that moment.
Sure.
So I think when you think of it today, like, I am seeing more and more of folks, Black, brown, get into this business. And, I started in that space and, had a lot of liquor brands that I represented for several years, and I didn't see any color, right? We were the ones that were, in the bars, in the clubs, selling the merchandise, selling the products.
Exactly. Pushing the brand.
Right. I'm pushing the brand. But when I go into the office, I didn't see us.
Exactly.
And so it was sometimes a misstep. I had one client that I absolutely love from Brown Foreman. She was a Black woman and she was outstanding in her role. And so I just find it very hard to believe that there was so much misrepresentation when you go to bar and it's all of us. So to me, it was like it was just hard. I'm like, we're going to this club. And these, Black folks owned when, we were in Atlanta, Miami, the clubs were owned by Black people.
Yeah.
And so that would blow our mind, right? And so, and brown, like, there would be Hispanic owners. And so I'm just like, why not? Why aren't we on the forefront there, right? We're consuming it, right? But we're not that. And we don't have to be, and so I do want to ask you, what is a winemaker? I hear that. And then you got winemakers, and then you have what's the other term?
Negociants or brand owners.
Yeah. So I want to know what is a winemaker?
Winemaker is actually the person who blends, bottles, manufactures, ferments, concocts a different wine. Basically, we're actually making it from fermentation.
Okay.
From
the grapes to the
juice, yes, the must.
Yeah.
We'll make it. We actually produce the product.
Got it.
Yeah, and being a winemaker, you could be the person who bottles it. That
could be somebody different, right?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, there's different segments, and there's ways, specializations in this industry that most people don't know because it's just kind of entrenched or just little niche markets. But the negotiant or the brand owner, that's like white labeling a product. You have someone private label it for you. You come up with the concept. It might be the packaging. It might be the label, and then and we used to do it too. Don't get me wrong. When we owned a distribution company, we had a brand made to our specifications.
Okay.
Now, I mentioned that probably in my bio, but the thing is, that's fine. And, you're basically acting as the marketer for that particular product.
Got it.
In that role.
Got it.
And, you're selling that, you're marketing that product.
Yeah.
I did that. But the thing is, when
you started there.
Correct. With my distribution company.
Got it.
You don't have to own a distribution company. You can just specifically act as the royalty receiver.
Okay.
If you're a private label customer.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
But the thing is, when you go to a winemaker like we did, they give you so many selections of what you said you wanted. You want a certain type of product. And they'll give you an option. You turn them down. Ultimately, you're not the person producing it. You know what I mean? I wanted more creative control in the product.
That's what I was going to say. Did that give you creative control?
Not as much. I mean, I came up with some ideas. I came up with some unique wine ideas that actually started, a path. I don't know. I would like to say that I started a few trends. Okay. But at the end of the day, someone can make something, but you may not even own the formula. It's not like it's like not owning your masters.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I guess like a Jay-Z or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be owned by it anymore.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be owned by it. We're fiercely independent people.
So that's kind of what I wanted to ask. So we've seen this, right? You've got Snoop, you've got Mary J. Blige, you've got all these entertainers, right, that have their own spirits, right? And the way I see it, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, that's just a white label, right? We just put your name on today, go in.
Sometimes not even that. I mean, they might just serve as. I'll give you a prime example. So I'm not even going to Ciroc. I won't even do that one.
Okay. Casa Cavassier?
Well, no, I was going to say how Ciroc wasn't doing anything but the whole Diddy thing. I'll just leave
Yeah.
I'll forget that one
because that's a whole thing, right?
Exactly.
For a different show, right? For a different show.
But take for instance, Jay-Z. He, without even knowing, when he mentioned in that one song, I think it was Big Pimpin' or something. He mentioned for Belvedere.
Yes.
Belvedere is what we call a dog on the shelf. It was not moving. I mean, it was like a $30 bottle of vodka. That was insane. Vodka is the cheapest spirit to make. Long story short, Jay-Z got behind it just by saying it. And I don't even know if he got paid from that. And the brand took off. It went through the roof. And I witnessed that, and I saw it over and over again over years. So he didn't get paid from that, but then he got smart and started at least getting a portion of the brand. Now you have people actually really private labeling, like maybe Kevin Hart or something. They have their own, they are private labeling. But in the beginning, people would just take that marketing Right.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily bring like a brand owner or a negotiant. That's acting as the marketer for that product. But you can own the brand. And whereas you own that label and the marketing behind it, you own that. But does it mean you own what's in the bottle? Maybe you own the formula. Maybe you did, if there was a formula. But at the end of the day, wines change. If it was a wine, it can change depending on crops every year. So unless it's a specialty product, like let's say this, my sweet potato pie cream, that's a formula product. So I own this. I designed it. I made it from scratch.
So it's called Miss Vera's sweet potato pie. Who's Miss Vera?
That was my grandma. She was an entrepreneur.
Oh, look at
and I hate to use entrepreneur, but she was a business owner.
Yeah.
So it was like my homage to her.
Yes. I love sweet potato pie though. I know, don't judge me though. See, I know it's weird. I don't like it's like, I don't know. I don't like sweets, but I like sweet potato pie.
You're gonna have to bless you with a bottle.
Yeah. And I say that because I don't know, but sweet potato pie to me is savory. It's not sweet.
I don't know. It's sweet in our house.
Okay.
We like some sweets.
And so I say that. And so here is, tell me about Finesse Silky White.
That's actually my favorite.
So were you part of
that's our best customer?
we
run reports.
Well, first of all, the name Silky White, Finesse. I mean,
actually,
seriously,
our daughter came up with.
Really?
Finesse. Yeah.
She came up with I like Finesse. Is this obviously wine is a woman. But I do find that men do like wine too. So it's not right.
Yeah.
You do find that
I love wine.
men, yeah. And so literally and understanding, my boyfriend actually loves red wine too with me. And so I love red. And so he's certain reds and he's like, okay, now I don't want to do this. I want to do this. But I think that in his mind, he says, you can't overpour wine. You can overpour everything else.
Yeah, you can.
You can't overpour wine.
Like how much you actually pour in the glass properly?
He says overpour, meaning that you can overpour like scotch and be messed up.
Oh, right.
Meaning, okay, keep going. But with wine,
in other words, you don't get tore up.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna get like
you can
probably,
but you're pleasant. I always say
pleasant
buzz.
I like pleasant.
That's the buzz.
Well,
that's a happy buzz.
So I'm having a pleasant day.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's beautiful. And I just want to tell everyone, I am actually drinking the rosé, which I love rosé. Literally, that is my favorite. And this rosé is so good that I'm scared because I just want to keep drinking it all by myself. Like I don't even want to share. That's another thing with me, rosé. I don't want to share. Like just give me my bottle and just leave it.
With mine.
People do that with our wines. They hide it from company when it comes over.
They say that.
They say that all the time. And save it.
So I'm having a pleasant day, guys, which is why I'm able to have wine. And that's a good thing, which is probably why I'm here. You guys are here now that you are, because I probably wasn't having some pleasant days. So I don't know that I would have been able to do this the way that I should have, right? Instead of drinking to wash the pain away. Now I'm just like, no, I'm not washing pain. I'm just having a pleasant day. And this is my treat, right?
But wine is versatile like that.
It is. So tell me this, as Black business owners, and you guys have built a family business, right? Your children work there, your sons work there. I want to know, is that important to you to showcase family as part of your business model? When the people walk in?
Well, I didn't give it much thought.
No.
Yeah, but they're so important there now.
Yeah.
It is important now.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken on greater roles, so we want to include them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that legacy? Is that important for you all?
For me, it is now. But originally, we weren't sure because our sons had
they had
jobs. In fact, one was they were doing really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I encouraged that they went out into the real world to get beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've seen it done. People I worked with before. they got to get roughed up a little
Mhm.
bit.
Yeah.
They got roughed up a little
Mhm.
bit and made some decisions. And we welcome them with open arms. That ultimately, yes, I guess I wanted that deep down, but I
Mhm.
also didn't want to steer their life.
Absolutely.
So I want them to go out and make their own decisions. And I tell them all the time, I still send them job.
Mhm.
I
He
fear,
does.
yeah, because
I
at
believe
first,
that.
really, because I believe you could do 2 jobs.
Yeah.
You got to have at least 2 jobs.
Well, I surely did it. I had like
Yeah,
4 rigs. So I'm
exactly.
just saying, I had
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
I had some W-2s and I had a whole lot of
Mhm.
like, I'm paying you at the door, you get $100, you know?
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
they had jobs. And
Yeah.
They helped out.
And they helped out.
They
on the
helped
side,
out on
yeah.
the side for
Then
years.
eventually they
They
decided it was going to be what they want to do.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to set them up and make sure
Sure.
they know, how everything is run, because ultimately, I do want to pass on if they want that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important for
Powerful.
Black-owned businesses to stay in the community instead of,
I agree.
I mean, not to say that we wouldn't,
Sure.
but I don't want to sell our company.
Okay. That's what I was
want it
gonna
to be
actually
around.
gonna add. I
Yeah.
wanted to say
Some people
is
set up
the
a company
exit-
just for that. Our
Mhm.
exit strategy. No, I don't really want to be an exit strategy. I see that
Okay.
all too often. Now, don't get me wrong.
You don't want to be held to that.
I don't
You
wanna
might
be
change
held to
your
that.
I agree.
Things
I agree.
happen.
Sure.
But ultimately, I mean, that's my dream.
Yeah.
I like for it to be passed down. If we're the quote unquote first licensed Black-owned winery, I think it should stick around. But things change, and the world has shown us that things change quick.
They do.
So who knows what's going to happen? I just want to give them that option.
Yeah.
And they seem to be happy for it.
Yeah.
She loves it.
They but it was important for them to get some outside experience. We
Yeah.
pushed that. We even pushed that with our daughter now. I
Mhm.
mean, she's teaching. Just to see how it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm a
you
firm
come-
believer of that too.
And if you decided, when they decided to come here, there were rules, there were talks, there were discussions. You're going to
Good.
treat it this way
Yeah.
Because this is a choice. You
Yeah.
don't have to be here.
Right.
But they
Okay.
I
are
will
there.
fire family.
So is dad and mom, or is dad Rick and mom Karen in the job?
they know the difference.
Okay.
I think they know the difference.
Okay.
They know how passionate we are.
Mhm.
And we don't expect that amount of passion, but we do expect them
Yeah.
to respect it as a job.
I love
But
that.
I do think there's passion there for them.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
When I see time, passing, their commitment.
Yeah. And their devotion to it.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's it.
But I just gotta say this, guys. That's who you all show up as. I just met you guys and I feel the commitment and devotion. So when you say that about your sons, I'm like, they're really are the blueprints to who you all are. So when you said it, I'm like, you said that when you entered to this room or starting this episode, we started this episode, you brought that up. And it sounds like you are doing it, not knowing that you're doing it. And I think, and the reason why I asked that is because, there are several businesses that really lead with family operated and owned, and they roll with that for years. I had the pleasure of having Walmart as a client years ago, and that was their biggest thing. Like family owned, they were very clear. They had no problem saying it. They've somewhat pivoted a little bit, but when they went, it was like when you come in there, when you were greeted, that was Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson is somehow connected to to the brand. And so people felt a certain kind of way about that. And so I want to say that, is it important to say, just as one of you all's, if we were to say, brand promise is family ran, family operated, would we say that?
Yeah.
That's
Now,
Now.
in the beginning, even though it was here
Yeah.
in our hearts where we wanted it to be, I don't think we really, it was obvious she was my wife and her husband. And when the boys came and people figured it out. But at first, no, like it wasn't on our website. We recently revamped the website.
Okay.
And then we did play that up, not play it up, but we made it more, we had dedicated a whole page to it,
Yeah.
I still have to do the bios of my sons, but the point is, we decided to put that in there originally. I don't always believe that the brand is the person.
You said that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you something. I believe it becomes. because the experience that you provide, I know in my business of marketing, we moved up into the adding the E and the experience. It's the experience. And that experience comes from your family makeup. Like you're going to feel that. There's no way around it.
Well, that's what we found. A lot of our customers, they made
I think
us
the
more aware of
rebranding
it.
actually came from
Yeah,
some
honestly,
feedback.
really.
That's awesome.
Because we were kind of away from that,
Yeah,
but
it was just
the more people
vibe.
saw us and the experience we provided.
Yeah.
Um,
And I will share with you all, I did some research and I shared it with the last couple last week that in my research of Jim Crow laws, it was illegal for you to show any affection. It was illegal in the Jim Crow laws.
For Black people to
For
show
Black
affection?
people to show affection.
That's terrible.
I know. But I think innately, that's part of the reason why when a lot of our Black businesses, when they are coupled, and I was speaking with them last week, we tend to shy away from that because it's not widely accepted. And that is ancestral because when I was studying this, I was like, why is it? And I will tell you, it was a stark difference. I was in a church. It was a Hispanic Latin church. Every couple in there touched each other and praised the word. They came. I mean, it was actually, so I can tell you, I was so uncomfortable because I was just like, okay, this is like, and it was but when I started, as I was doing research, like that's how they do in Portland. That is a real thing. Much like in Ghana, it's different too, right? Sure. So when I started to study on on this side and north, like in northern states, and this when we moved, you were sometimes separated, so you didn't want to share that's your wife or that's your husband because you both are trying to. Well, can you get in that way? Okay, go that way. You go that way, and then they come together. So that was part of why. And if we go back to history and go back there, I know, right? And so when I saw it, I felt like more and more, I believe, more and more couples who are in business have to showcase that. Because I think that's part of why, young people don't see that. Young people don't, see that. Yeah. Like, no, I got to do my thing. She got to do her thing, and again, that's still okay too. I'm not saying that any of it is wrong or this, but I think it's more represented. And I think when we look at, various shows, right? The Cosby Show, things like that. We saw that, but how many of those shows did we see we started to see, but that was like our show. And we almost held him to like the cross, like he is the one, right? And so that was hard for us to see that. So I do definitely believe that seeing this idea of collaboration, this idea of coming together, this idea of co-preneur, coming together is something that I think can be modeled after.
Oh, wow.
I think it's something that can be modeled. And I think you guys are doing a great job because I would think that people come into the winery are probably designing their next big idea or having a date. And you guys are helping to manifest those things.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah.
I know that it is. And so I do want to, now say when people come in. So now this is where we get to talk about where you guys are located, your website. Can people purchase online? So those are some things I want you guys to be able to share for people as they're listening. You want some wine right now? Where can they go?
Okay, of course.
Right now, they're here with me in the studio.
Come have a sip with us. But yeah, of course, you can go to the winery. We're located at 339 Main Street in Park Forest, in downtown Park Forest.
Is it free parking?
It is, but it's a challenge because it fills up sometime over there.
Okay.
There is parking.
But there is parking. Because city folks, that's the number one question. So
I know. I get it too. But there is parking right in the front. And then there's lots around there, but you should not have that issue typically.
Okay.
However, if you do, or if you don't want to come all the way to the winery, we do sell our wines at some retail stores, some independent ones, around the Chicagoland and suburban areas. Certain Benny's carries our wines. Probably about 10 or 15 of them. It depends.
That's huge. right?
Yeah. And we could be in more, but that's where
Was
our
that
footprint
intention?
is right
Is that
now.
intentional?
Pretty much.
Mhm.
I love Rick. Everything
yeah.
you do is intentional.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
I don't do that, and yep, we gonna stay
No,
here.
no,
I
it's
love
gonna
it.
be
I
some
love
clear cut lines.
it.
I love it.
Yeah, but you know, you could be everywhere and not making a dent, or you could be one place making a dent.
That's
You
true.
know, and so that's where we are there. But
Okay.
we can deliver wine directly to your house if you're local to us,
Okay.
for a small fee,
Okay.
or mail order,
Yep.
FedEx.
So
yeah.
do you because you guys do the wine club, right? You have a
We
wine
do,
club too.
yeah,
I
yeah.
saw that.
Yeah, you could pick your wine up, or we could mail it to you. We typically don't. But you know, you could just order wine without the wine club on the website at ventrendiwines.com. Wines with an S.
With an S.
Yeah, with an S.
And you can also have parties, right? I saw that
Yeah.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
See, I did my research.
I see.
I see that you can have parties. I saw a few things. Or is there weddings there too?
We had a
We've
wedding.
had a
Y'all
wedding
had a
there.
wedding.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Hey.
Yeah.
We had a
Oh,
wedding.
nice.
Yeah.
Was it outside or was it in?
It was
the-
inside.
Nice.
Inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
The wedding. You can definitely rent the space out
Okay.
for private rentals, be it
Okay.
birthday parties, bachelorette parties,
Mhm.
or you can come in and just do wine by the glass.
Yeah.
tasting.
Inshallah.
We do regular reservations up to 20.
Oh, nice. Okay. And
Mhm.
people can, and what's your hours?
Wow, they vary. Monday and Tuesdays are like industry days.
Okay.
You know, those are big production days. So we're only open for carry out
Okay.
Monday and Tuesdays from 3 to 8.
Okay.
Wednesday and Thursday was it 3 to 8, and you
Okay.
can be seated. Friday noon to 10.
3 to 10.
Oh,
Friday,
changed
3 to
hours.
10.
I'll let you finish. 'cause
Saturday,
I forget.
noon to 10.
That's what happens though.
And Sunday, noon to 5.
Yeah.
Oh, so
yeah,
you're open on Sundays.
We are open.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we are
Yeah.
open every day of the week.
yeah.
That's awesome. And can you come in for wine tasting?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah.
Any Wednesday through Sunday
Yes.
during those hours. Last seating is always the hour before closing.
Okay.
But you know, you have a grace period afterwards. But you know, one thing that we do and people tend to like are our live music events.
Mhm.
Saw that. Yes,
Oh,
I saw that. I,
I
hear
enjoy
that.
them. That's when I do
you
drink
told
at
me
work.
you definitely drink.
Check
Yeah.
out some of the videos. You'll see how you
I
enjoy
did-
them.
I did.
Yeah. I get
did
loose.
see that. I
Yeah,
did see
it's
that.
a good time. But
Nice.
I enjoy that. And,
Okay.
it's something that, you know, when we created the winery, at first we were just thinking, you know, production
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and retail, and then we got more space, and then we
Mhm.
started seating guests, and then that just sort of happened. You know,
Mhm.
something. You know, when we created it, we wanted a place where we wanted to hang out
Mhm.
that just didn't exist.
Mhm.
It's a couple friendly place. You know, it's not a meat market.
Mhm.
It could be,
It could be, right?
but you know,
not it.
95% of our clients
Are
are
women.
women, and
Okay.
it's just a calm, serene, safe place for
Nice.
people to kick back.
Mhm.
I mean, don't expect the club atmosphere. You know, we play house regularly, but
You didn't.
yeah.
Now,
this
Rick.
isn't the
Now,
C place. This isn't the C place.
Now,
Come on
guys,
now.
I mean, we from Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and you play house. Man, we should have
I
started
think you
off
should
with that.
make a visit.
I think I'm going. Once you
Yeah.
say house
Yeah.
music, I'm there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean,
Saturday nights we always do
Most-
a DJ,
yeah,
but
most Saturday
regularly
nights
we,
are
we
DJs.
typically play
oh, nice.
tracks. Yeah.
I mean, I think,
Or R&B. We're heavy on R&B. too.
Okay.
Yeah.
and honestly, to be really honest with you all, I think I live up the street from Bronzeville Winery, and quite frankly, it's really hard to find a place where you want to kick back
Mhm.
right after work or on the weekends. You want to just chill and hear some good music, and you don't want the other stuff, right?
Right.
Mhm.
It's actually very limited in an urban city like Chicago.
Yeah, I noticed.
Right?
Yeah.
It's such a disappointment. So, hey guys, but here's what I hear. You can go there on the weekends. Okay. You can go there on Thursdays.
Mhm.
And I'm enjoying my pleasant wine here. My rosé is really, really good.
Thank you.
I do want to tell you guys one more one because I think I didn't put up here is the plum. Actually, I used to love plum wine. So I know it's good because I used to love it. But I bet this is a big seller. I bet. No?
It's all right. It's got
Okay.
its seasons.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
it's
sense.
certainly a lot of our wines. Some of them were created to be seasonal,
Mhm.
but that one does better a certain time of year.
Okay.
It does all right. Though.
It
But
does
it
all
is
right.
100% crafted from plums.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
And, yeah.
Nice. I love it. So I'm going to just tell you all, we have a text message campaign. I'm trying to push you guys to join us, join our family. We want to keep talking about businesses. We want to keep creating this community. So our number is 312-300-1300, and you can text the word BBM, which stands for Black Businesses Matter, but text BBM to 312-300-1300, and just join us in this community. We want to share exclusive opportunities with some of the businesses that we've had that maybe they have a special offer and we want to share it with you. We really want to continue to build on this community so that people will be intentional, right? And being able to support our Black businesses. Guys, before we wrap up, we ask this question to all of our guests. Why do Black businesses matter?
Oh wow!
And you guys,
reasons.
You guys have had multiple, and you certainly have an incredible business now. And so, why does it matter? You guys been doing it for quite some time.
Well, we need a Black economic base. Period.
Mhm.
We need representation in every industry. We need to take our talents from corporate America and apply them towards our community. All our problems can be fixed.
I know.
But it's not an easy walk. And I tell people, I don't even call us entrepreneurs. We're self-employed or business owners. At the end of
What's your word?
I'm just, I don't know. This is just what I do. This is what I've done. Now I've taken those skills.
It's a job that we just love
Yeah.
to do.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I don't like to make it grandiose.
It's just
Because
a job
it is some
that
hard
if it
work.
doesn't go well,
You're in trouble.
yeah,
Yeah.
you take the hit.
But we take the risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's something that we love getting up doing every day.
Is that why it matters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We value our time freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about a sale per se.
Sure.
Quality of life is important,
Sure.
and loving what we do.
Yeah.
But those weren't always the number one driving reasons. I mean, I got a lot of reasons, but economically, I think we need to. And it used to be this way. It used to be more Black-owned businesses and mom and pops. Not saying it needs to be mom and pop, but the fact of the matter is, we had a stronger economic base and probably more power in the 60s or whatever prior to integration.
Yeah.
Integration was good. It's great, but we lost a lot of businesses.
We did.
Now I've seen, when I started in the industry in 95, no, was it 98? There were some Black-owned liquor stores, very few. Now, I think we're the only, well, not the only, there are a few now, just very few. But it used to be maybe a couple handfuls, but they're all gone.
Yeah.
The point is, that's just liquor stores. But at the end of the day, we have to take control of our finances if possible. There's nothing wrong with having a job because that's great. I enjoy getting a paycheck. That's nice.
I
love
totally
that.
agree with you.
But if it's your calling and you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. Worst thing you could do is fail. But I always say fail up. You can at the end of the day, and we've had quote unquote, they weren't really failures. They were learning experiences.
I don't believe we fail.
I don't know.
Our best experience come from failing.
Seriously,
right?
yeah.
Whether that's to pivot, to fire.
Oh, we'll pivot. Yeah. But all that adds up, and you just put in your toolkit, and ultimately it'll strengthen you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I asked this question last week. I'm going to ask you guys, what couple that you guys believe today represents who you all are? And it doesn't have to be someone famous.
We've been looking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
No.
I like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Okay.
If you were to say famous people that work hard,
Okay. Hardworking.
Yeah.
and work smart.
As well. You know who I follow and I look up to a lot? Mael.
There you go.
So here's what's crazy.
Yeah.
This is how you know things are divine. Our last couple said the same thing.
For real.
They're
friends with, like they named them on their Monique and Melvin.
Yeah.
And I love that we are, to me, what I love is that we're paying homage to our peers.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. And again, we still love being Jay-Z,
Uh-huh.
but that's why I said it doesn't necessarily have to be someone famous,
Mhm.
right? It's just someone that you see, that you look up to, that you respect and honor.
Just their story
Yeah.
and taking something that they were passionate about
Yeah.
when a lot of people doubted them.
Yeah, a lot of people.
A lot of people.
A lot.
But they ran with it.
They
because
ran
they
with it.
believed in it.
Yeah, and they stayed together in it. I
Yeah.
had the pleasure of working with Monique a while ago, and who she was and that vision she had is the same vision. That was like 12 years ago.
Mhm.
So that's
that's
spoke.
amazing.
Isn't it amazing? Like
Mhm.
she said it and she is living it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys say that, because I think it says a lot when we can speak on you guys standing here building a business to speak on another couple. Isn't that powerful?
Yeah, because I hadn't given it much thought, but thanks for
Yeah.
helping me look at
Yeah,
that.
no.
But
it's
like
just,
business
you know,
mentors, people
Yeah.
have them, but I don't know. I
Mhm.
haven't. We don't have any.
and that's
So,
okay,
but
though.
it's a challenge, because you have to do everything. We don't have to, but that's just it. I mean, I find us mentoring other folks a lot more,
Okay.
but probably because we have a lot of experience starting and closing,
Yeah.
or restructuring, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Restructuring.
I
But
like
the
the
point
word
of it, yeah.
restructure.
Yeah.
And that's really what is,
Yeah.
our distribution company was restructured into the wine
To the
maker,
winery.
the
Mhm.
winery. So
What,
with that being said, yeah.
What brings you all joy?
What brings us joy? You know, seeing everyone happy.
That's beautiful.
Being peaceful, just being at, just being tranquil. I like tranquility
Yes.
a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Just
love that.
like, I even work at night. I can't work when there's a lot of noise. I just
Okay.
like that brings
Just
I know
peace.
it's sad that all I do is
No,
work.
but I think,
I
you
hate to
find
say
it.
that's
Yeah.
it too.
but I think it's
peace.
okay. Give yourself grace to know that when you love what you do, it's not work,
Mhm.
Oh no, it's not work.
right? Because
Yeah.
you are speaking of it, but again, and I will say this: you guys are helping to fuel people's dreams, goals, connections. You're helping them.
Good.
However, that's the way I see it.
Mhm.
Because whether that's celebrating or winding down,
Pretty
whatever
much.
it
Yeah,
is.
basically.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Whether
yeah.
it's wine, because I shared wind down with me, like somebody about
Mhm.
4:30. What's happening? You're winding down, right? So why not get some wine to wind down?
Right.
So, anything for you what brings you joy? I heard you. What you want to
Just peace and happy. I mean, just people being happy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Just
That makes me happy.
yeah.
And I think we have not been able to hear. So you guys give me chills. That we've heard that it's okay, which is why we asked that question, Black joy, because we haven't been given permission to have joy and happiness.
Yeah.
Right?
Very
we have
true.
to walk in struggle. We have to walk in that space.
It shouldn't be.
But
that way.
and it shouldn't be.
Right.
But
that
you
way.
guys are literally, which I think is true. True. You're selling joy and happiness.
Yeah.
For people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Well,
are.
we have had our struggle periods too.
Sure.
But to get past that, it just feels good. Not
Yeah.
that we're past the beginning stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things
Yeah.
are a little bit more manageable,
Yeah.
and that brings the tranquility. I
Yeah.
guess that brings me joy.
Yeah. This has been outstanding. So I want you all to, I want from my listeners, and for those that are viewing and watching us, this was new for me. So please share with me what you thought about this show, because I didn't know that we could blend kind of like this idea of beverage into the show. Because typically, right, that's in TV shows and morning shows, right? People taste. But because we were not able to, it's hard to be able to get people to feel what we feel because you're tasting
Right.
on,
Mhm.
from an audio. But you guys have been outstanding guests for me to be able to do this. And the fact that I would just want to just mention to you all, Vintrendi, and that's Vend, VINTRENDI Wines, is Illinois' first Black-owned and operated winery. So I don't know about you, but pull out your phones and save this as someplace to visit, someplace to order, someplace to take your friends to, your family for graduations, and they just want to experience something in Illinois outside of Chicago that they've never been able to experience. Introduce them to this. I just want to say thank you guys for just rocking with us in this new season of Black love and finance together and bringing you all some dynamic co-preneurs. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. See you next week.